20 doctors couldn't save the rich Arab's baby. Until a poor black girl did the unthinkable. The Al Farouk mansion had never seen chaos like this. 20 of the world's most renowned doctors crowded into the baby's room, a space that cost more than most houses. White coats formed a blur of frantic movements under crystal chandeliers imported from Dubai. Heart monitors screamed. Ventilators hissed. A team from Johns Hopkins shouted orders to specialists flown in from Geneva, while a Nobel laureate in pediatric immunology wiped sweat from his forehead and whispered what no one wanted to hear. "We're losing her." Little Yasmin Al Farouk, heiress to a $35 billion fortune, was dying. And the medical team, costing $60,000 per hour, couldn't explain why the 4-month-old's tiny body had turned the color of ash. Bluish lips. Purple fingertips. A strange rash spreading across her chest like a silent accusation. Every test came back inconclusive. Every treatment failed. No one noticed the 13-year-old girl standing at the kitchen's back door. Destiny Williams had learned to be invisible since age 6, when her mother started working as a housekeeper at the Al Farouk estate. 7 years of watching without being seen. 7 years walking through the shadows of a mansion where her existence was tolerated, never welcomed. She wore a coat 3 winters too old and shoes held together by sheer stubbornness. But her dark eyes captured everything. Every detail. Every movement. And now those eyes were fixed on something none of the 20 medical geniuses had noticed. The flower arrangement on the nursery windowsill. It had arrived 4 days ago. A gift from a distant cousin of the family, according to the card. White bell-shaped flowers, delicate, almost angelic. Petals that looked like porcelain with purple veins, like bruises hidden beneath pale skin. Destiny knew those flowers. Her grandmother Ruth, who had healed half of the poorest neighborhood in Atlanta with herbs and faith, had taught her to recognize that leaf pattern before she could even read. Devil's trumpet, her grandmother's voice echoed in her memory. Beautiful on the outside, killer on the inside. Just breathing near it for too long, a baby could. Destiny felt her blood turn to ice. The doctors were about to take Yasmin for exploratory surgery. They were going to cut open that tiny body looking for answers that weren't inside. The answer was in a white ceramic vase with a golden bow. Destiny's hands trembled. She looked at the hallway full of security guards, then at the kitchen door where her mother worked, the woman who had warned her 1,000 times, "Stay invisible. Stay safe. Don't give them a reason to send us away." If she was wrong, they would lose everything. The house. The job. The only stability they had ever known. If she was right and did nothing, that baby would die before dawn. Destiny closed her eyes for a second. She thought of Grandma Ruth, who had died when she was 9, leaving her with fragments of wisdom that no school taught. "This knowledge is your inheritance," her grandmother used to say. "Promise me you'll use it when it matters." She had promised. And now it was time to keep that promise. What Destiny didn't know was that those flowers hadn't been sent by any cousin. What she didn't know was that someone inside that mansion wanted baby Yasmin dead. And what she definitely didn't know was that in the next 30 minutes, her decision would change not only that child's destiny, but her own forever. If you're enjoying this story, subscribe to the channel now. Because what Destiny is about to do next is something none of those 20 doctors would ever imagine. Destiny took a deep breath and stepped back from the door. She couldn't just run in screaming about poisonous flowers. No one would believe her. She was just the maid's daughter, a 13-year-old black girl with worn-out shoes. What did she know that 20 doctors with Harvard degrees didn't? Everything. She knew everything that mattered. Her grandmother Ruth had been born in rural Georgia, daughter of sharecroppers who had never set foot in a school. But Ruth knew every plant within a 100-mile radius. She knew which leaves cured fevers, which roots stopped bleeding, which flowers killed silently. Rich doctors look for rich problems, Ruth used to say while preparing her teas. They look inside the body with expensive machines. But sometimes the poison is right there in front of them, too pretty to seem dangerous. Destiny remembered perfectly the day her grandmother showed her devil's trumpet in an old leather-bound book. "See these bell-shaped flowers, baby? Digitalis purpurea. Just touching the leaves and then rubbing your eye, you could die. The oil sticks to everything it touches. And if a baby breathes that air for days." Her grandmother hadn't finished the sentence. She didn't need to. Destiny ran silently through the servants' corridor to the laundry room. Her mother was there, folding towels with trembling hands, her face marked with worry. "Mom, I need to tell you something." Gloria Williams looked at her daughter with tired eyes. She had worked 16 hours straight since the crisis began, keeping the house running while medical chaos consumed everything. "Not now, Destiny. Mrs. Al-Farouk needs clean towels in the baby's room and It's about the baby. I know what's killing her." Gloria froze. Fear crossed her face like a shadow. "Destiny, no. Whatever you're thinking, don't." "Mom, there's a poisonous plant in the room. Devil's trumpet. Grandma taught me to recognize it. The doctors don't know because they've never seen one in their lives. But I know. I know that's what it is." Gloria dropped the towels and grabbed her daughter's shoulders tightly. "Listen to me. If you go in there and talk nonsense, we lose everything. Everything, Destiny. The house, my job, your school. Do you want to go back to that apartment with rats? Do you want to see me working 3 shifts again? Mom, the baby is going to die. It's not our problem." The words came out harsh, cutting. Gloria closed her eyes immediately, regretful. "Destiny, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. But you're all I have. I can't let you risk yourself for people who don't even know our names." Destiny felt tears burning, but she didn't let them fall. Grandma knew everyone's name. She healed anyone who knocked on her door, rich or poor. She said knowledge is meant to be used when it matters, not when it's safe. Gloria released her daughter's shoulders. She was silent for a long moment. "Your grandmother died without a penny, baby. She died in the same old house where she was born, taking care of others while her own body gave up. And she died at peace. Can you say the same about us if this baby dies and we do nothing?" The silence between them weighed like lead. Then Gloria did something Destiny never expected. She took off her employee badge and placed it in her daughter's hand. "This opens the East Corridor door, where the medical supply storage is." Destiny looked at the badge, then at her mother. "What are you doing?" "Being foolish. Just like my mother was." Gloria wiped away a quick tear. "You'll need activated charcoal. Rich people buy it to whiten their teeth, but your grandmother used it to clean poison from the blood. There's a jar in the main guest room bathroom." "Mom. Go quickly, before I change my mind." "And Destiny." "Yes. If things go wrong, you did everything alone. I didn't know anything. Understand?" Destiny nodded, tucked the badge in her pocket, and ran. The East Corridor was empty. The guards had concentrated in the medical wing, where the 20 specialists debated whether to operate immediately or wait for more tests. Destiny heard fragments of conversation as she passed. "Surgery is too risky in her current state. If we do nothing, she won't make it through the night. We've tested everything. It's not bacterial, not viral, not genetic." She wanted to scream that it was botanical, that the answer was in a flower vase 3 feet from the crib. But she kept walking, invisible as always, until she reached the guest room. The jar of activated charcoal was exactly where her mother had said. Destiny grabbed it with trembling hands. Now she just had to enter the baby's room, get past 20 doctors, past armed security guards, past the billionaire father who would look at her like an intruder, and somehow convince them to listen to a girl who had learned medicine from her grandmother in an old kitchen. Impossible. But Grandma Ruth had taught her something else too. When nobody wants to hear you, baby, you don't ask permission. You act. And let the results speak for you. Destiny pressed the jar against her chest and walked toward the chaos. Destiny entered the main corridor and the chaos swallowed her. Doctors ran in every direction. Nurses carried equipment. Security guards spoke into radios with tense voices. From the center of it all, coming from the baby's room, the sounds no one wanted to hear, alarms blaring, voices shouting orders, the desperate whine of machines losing the battle. Prepare for emergency intubation. Pressure dropping. 50/30. We're losing her. Destiny ran. Her worn shoes pounded against the imported marble. The jar of activated charcoal was pressed against her chest. She had no plan, no strategy, just the absolute certainty that if she didn't do something in the next few minutes, that baby would die. A security guard spotted her first. Hey you there. Stop. Destiny didn't stop. He tried to grab her, but she was smaller, faster, desperate in a way that men paid by the hour would never understand. She dodged him, past a nurse who screamed in surprise, and burst through the baby's room door before anyone could stop her. 20 heads turned. The room was enormous, transformed into an improvised ICU. Machines everywhere, tubes, monitors, equipment that cost more than the house where Destiny had been born. In the center, in a crib surrounded by specialists, Yasmin Al-Farouk fought to breathe. The baby's skin was gray. Almost purple. Who is this girl? Security. Get her out of here. How did she get in? Hands grabbed Destiny's arms. Strong, rough, with no patience for explanations. She felt her feet leave the ground as 2 guards dragged her backward toward the door. The flowers. Destiny screamed with all the strength she had. It's the flowers. On the windowsill. They're poisonous. No one heard. Or rather, no one wanted to hear. Why would they? She was nobody. The maid's daughter. A black girl in old clothes invading the space of the powerful. Her words had no value in that world. Please. The tears came now, burning. Devil's trumpet. Digitalis. Test the flowers. The oil is poisoning the air. One of the doctors, a gray-haired man with a British accent, raised his hand. Wait. The guard stopped but didn't let go. What did you say, girl? Digitalis. The flowers on the windowsill. My grandmother was a healer. She taught me to recognize them. The plant's oil is absorbed through the skin and through the air. The baby has been breathing poison for 4 days. Silence. Then someone laughed. A younger doctor, in an expensive suit with Yale diplomas hanging from his ego. Digitalis? We already tested for cardiac glycosides in her blood. Negative. Because her body is too small. The concentration is in the tissues, not in the blood yet. But it will show up. It will show up when it's too late. The British doctor looked at the flowers. Then at Destiny. Then at the dying baby. This is absurd, said the Yale doctor. We're going to waste time on maid superstition while. Shut up, Henderson. The British doctor walked to the window. He examined the flowers closely, without touching. He saw the bell-shaped petals, the purple veins, the leaves with their oily sheen. His face went white. Get this out of here. Now. And everyone who touched this vase, wash your hands immediately. Chaos erupted. Doctors shouting orders, nurses running, someone calling the decontamination team. Destiny took advantage of the chaos. She escaped from the distracted guards, ran to the crib, and before anyone could stop her, opened the jar of activated charcoal. Her hands remembered exactly what her grandmother used to do. Mix with water, make a thin paste, apply gently to the lips so the baby would swallow it slowly. What are you doing? Khalid Al-Farouk, the billionaire father, had finally realized what was happening. He charged forward like a bull, his face distorted with fury and terror. Get your hands off my daughter. Guards grabbed Destiny again. Harder this time, hurting. She felt her shoulder pop with pain as they threw her to the floor. But the charcoal was already on the baby's lips. What did you give her? Khalid was on his knees now, holding Yasmin, looking at the black paste on her tiny mouth. What did you give my daughter? Activated charcoal. It absorbs toxins. My grandmother used it too. Your grandmother? Your grandmother. Khalid turned to the guards. Call the police. This girl poisoned my baby. She. Mr. Al-Farouk. The British doctor's voice cut through the air like a blade. Look at your daughter. Khalid looked. And saw something impossible. The color was coming back. The deathly gray was giving way to a pale pink. The lips that had been blue for hours now trembled with stronger breaths. The monitors, which had been screaming alarms for minutes, began to stabilize. What? Khalid couldn't form words. Saturation rising, announced a nurse, her voice trembling with shock. 82. 85. 90. Heart rhythm normalizing. The skin rash is receding. The British doctor knelt beside Destiny, who was still on the floor, her shoulder throbbing with pain. How did you know? My grandmother. She healed people who couldn't afford doctors. Destiny swallowed hard. She said sometimes the answer is so close that nobody can see it. The silence that followed was different. It wasn't the silence of contempt. It was the silence of 20 specialists realizing they had been saved by a 13-year-old girl with knowledge that no university taught. Then another sound cut through the air. Yasmin Al-Farouk, for the first time in 4 days, began to cry. A strong cry. A healthy cry. The cry of a baby who had decided to live. Khalid Al-Farouk held his daughter against his chest and cried along with her. The investigation began before dawn. Khalid Al-Farouk had hired a private forensic team. Former FBI agents, toxicology specialists, investigators who cost more per hour than most people earned in a month. In 6 hours, they had the answer. The flowers hadn't been sent by any cousin. The card was fake. The return address didn't exist. But the security cameras at the florist told a different story. The one who had ordered the arrangement was Nadia Al-Farouk, Khalid's older sister. Destiny was sitting in the corridor when she heard the screams. Khalid's voice, hoarse with rage and betrayal. Nadia's voice, first denying, then begging, finally confessing. You were supposed to be just another failed heir. Nadia screamed as security guards dragged her away. Dad left everything to you. 35 billion, and what did I get? An allowance? A house he chose. You tried to kill my daughter for money? It was my money. Mine. The police took her away 20 minutes later. Destiny watched through the window as Nadia Al-Farouk, with her designer clothes and her decades of hatred, was placed in the back seat of a patrol car like any common criminal. Attempted murder of a minor. The prosecution promised life in prison. Destiny didn't feel satisfaction. Just a strange emptiness, mixed with relief. Destiny Williams? She turned. Khalid Al-Farouk was standing in the corridor, baby Yasmin sleeping in his arms. For the first time since she had known him from afar for 7 years, he seemed human. Tired, broken, but human. Mr. Al-Farouk, You saved my daughter. It wasn't a question. My grandmother taught me about plants. I saw the flowers and recognized them. Khalid approached. Destiny fought against the instinct to step back, to make herself small, invisible, the way she had learned to be her entire life. 20 doctors, Khalid said quietly. 20 of the best in the world. I spent $2 million in 12 hours. And none of them saw what you saw. They were looking in the wrong place. And you were looking in the right place. Why? Destiny thought before answering. Because my grandmother taught me to look at everything, not just what seems important. She said rich people always look for rich problems. Sometimes the answer is simple, but nobody wants to believe that simple works. Khalid was silent for a long moment. Then he did something Destiny would never have expected to see in her life. He knelt before her. A billionaire. On his knees. In front of the maid's daughter. Forgive me, he said. For all the years you were invisible in this house. For all the moments I walked past you without seeing. For almost having you arrested when you were saving my daughter. Destiny didn't know what to do. No one had prepared her for this moment. Mr. Al-Farouk, you don't have to. Yes, I do. And I need to do much more. He stood up. Your mother told me about your grandmother Ruth. About the knowledge she passed on to you. About the people she healed in your neighborhood when no one else would help. She was special. She was wise. And that wisdom saved the most important person in my life. Khalid took a deep breath. I want to build something. A clinic. That combines traditional medicine with modern treatment. A place where knowledge like your grandmother's is respected, not dismissed. Destiny felt her heart race. It will be called the Ruth Williams Healing Center. And I want you and your mother to be part of it. Tears came before Destiny could stop them. Her grandmother's name. On a real building. Helping real people. There's more, Khalid continued. Full scholarship to any university you choose. Medicine, botany, whatever you want to study. And a house. Not the staff quarters. A real house, in your name and your mother's. Gloria Williams appeared in the corridor at that moment. She had heard everything. Silent tears streamed down her tired face. Mr. Al-Farouk, this is too much. We can't accept. You can and you will accept. Because your daughter did something all my money couldn't do. She saved my Yasmin. Khalid extended the sleeping baby toward Destiny. Would you like to hold her? Destiny had never held a baby before. Her hands trembled as Yasmin was placed in her arms. The baby was so light, so small, so miraculously alive. Yasmin opened her eyes. Dark eyes, bright, healthy. She looked at Destiny for a long moment. And smiled. A baby smile, toothless, pure as only innocence can be. Gloria hugged her daughter from behind, wrapping around both girls, the one who had saved and the one who had been saved. Your grandmother would be so proud, Gloria whispered. Destiny closed her eyes and let the tears fall. She thought of Ruth Williams, who had been born poor, lived poor, died poor, but had left an inheritance more valuable than any fortune. Knowledge, courage, and the certainty that every life deserves to be saved, no matter who is saving or who is being saved. 1 year later, the Ruth Williams Healing Center opened its doors. Destiny, now 14, cut the ribbon alongside Khalid Al-Farouk and little Yasmin, who was already walking and babbling her first words. Yasmin's first complete word wasn't daddy or mommy. It was Dedi. Destiny. The girl who had been invisible her entire life was now seen by everyone. Not as the maid's daughter. Not as the poor girl. But as what she had always been inside, even when no one noticed. A healer. Like her grandmother. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and leave in the comments, what wisdom did your grandmother or grandfather teach you that you never forgot? Turn on notifications so you don't miss any story. Because here we believe that knowledge has no social class, and that sometimes the most unlikely person is exactly who the world needs.